Good morning and welcome back to Save Time, Save Money Chat. I'm Michelle Stinson-Ross with offers.com, and today I am joined by Alex Greenwood. Alex, why don't you kick us off since you've got a cup of coffee sitting in front of you?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Morning is an awfully bad time to talk about Halloween, isn't it? It's just not quite the mood we want to set. I mean, I tried to get all the gang behind me to get all into this, and they were just like, "Alex, go ahead and talk. We're just going to hang back here." So they're going to do that. No, I'm Alex Greenwood. I write mystery novels and horror stories and things like that. But more than anything else, I'm a Halloween nut. And when Michelle said that Offers was doing a little hangout here to talk about doing a home haunt and a Halloween party and having some fun with Halloween, I had to be there because, I mean, I am literally the guy who has, a Halloween app on his phone that counts down the days. And I just did it. I had the sound down, but there's 34 days as of this. Is that showing up? It's probably not showing up. There's 34 days as of today from Halloween. And I mean, I whip this thing out. I even tweet this to people like when it's 300 days to Halloween. They're all like, "You're crazy." But to me, Halloween is just this glorious time to be a kid again. And now that I have a 6-year-old daughter of my own, I get to live it through her eyes, much in the same way a lot of people feel about Christmas, which I'm fine with Christmas, but Halloween for me is such a great opportunity to step back and have a good scare and be a kid again.
Fantastic. Alex mentioned that he is a writer. One of the annual, almost, events now in his life is the launch of a book. All right?
Yeah, actually, and I took a year off, but I've written a mystery series called the John Pilate Mysteries Series. You can learn more about it at pilatescross.com, which is Pilates cross.com, not Pilates. And it's a series, and I'm on the third book, Pilate's Ghost, was released on Halloween of 2012, and right around Halloween of this year, the fourth book in the series, Pilate's Blood, will be released. So you can find all of the books on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever ebooks and paperbacks are sold. You can order them from your local bookstore. I hope you'll help you think about it. They're they're mystery thrillers. They're kind of light on the mystery side and just more on kind of the goofy character side, and I enjoy that. So I hope you'll look into that. But I've also written suspense and horror story as well, and it's so Halloween to me just always seems like a natural time to release my stuff, but also this time of year I get hyper creative. It's when I seem to want to write the most. I think as we go from fall into winter, it's just of course natural that you're stuck inside more anyway. But there's just something vaguely sinister about the changing of the season that helps me write my mysteries and thrillers.
Fantastic. For those of you that are watching via our Google Plus Hangout, we do have the link to Alex's homepage in the Showcase app. You can go straight there. Just click on the scrolling pictures of the book, and it'll take you right there. I want to get into the discussion about all the Halloween stuff, and I apologize because apparently my mascara has decided to flake in my eyes, and I'm like going nuts here. Alex has not scared me half to death. That's not it at all. I'm having a makeup malfunction. So I'm going to give him a question, and then I'm going to go fix this while he explains.
Ooh. He's trusting me. Very good.
He's like, I'm leaving you in good hands. No, I'm not leaving you, I promise. But first of all, I wanted to ask, for those in the audience that are maybe they're just maybe this is their first home, maybe the kids are just now old enough that they're getting involved in trick-or-treat, that kind of stuff, they want to kind of keep it small to start. Yeah, this is the first time that they're doing any of this. What are some of your favorite things to do just for the entryway? How do you spook that up for trick-or-treaters?
You mean the actual just where the kids are going to come and
right
knock on the door and all that?
Yeah, maybe just the sidewalk leading up to. We're not going to get into the whole yard just yet, but I mean, if you want to keep it small, but you want to have something really cool right at the door.
Yeah, and this is a great question, Michelle, and I'll let you fix your mascara and all that. This is kind of a good entryway into home haunting, as we call it. And I'm very much an amateur home haunter, and we might have some pictures a little later to show you. But one thing I recommend are the luminaires, the bags, but maybe get, that you could line your sidewalk with. I wouldn't use candles. I would probably use the little flickering battery-powered candle lights, and maybe just through your whole path leading up to your door, do the orange or jack-o'-lantern type paper bags, with the battery-powered luminaires. It's a friendly way to lead up to the house, particularly if you're not really going for a scare. You're just going for more of a spooky theme and more of a welcoming theme. And then when you get to the door, of course, you've got to have a jack-o'-lantern. We carve them every year, but one thing we did last year was we made one that will kind of last, we hope, if we take care of it for a long time. There's a popular hobby store called Michael's. Well, they will actually laser cut a jack-o'-lantern for you in just about any design you want to come up with, whatever you want to pay for, or what do you want to say, and so we did that, and you can put a light in that as well. I wouldn't put a candle because it would melt it, but ours, because every year our house goes from Greenwood Manor to Ghoulwood Manor. So what we did was we had ours carved with a haunted house on it that says Ghoulwood Manor. So you've got your luminaires leading up the path. You've got your jack-o'-lantern. If it is with a candle, be safe. Make sure little hands can't get in it or it can't fall on somebody. But or just use, like I said, one that you can keep year after year and light it up. The cobwebby stuff, the really cheap, fun cobweb stuff, you can get anywhere, Target or any store, any dollar store this time of year. It's a little trying to learn how to use that properly, because that stuff clumps up and you have to be really patient in pulling it apart. The more clumps you have, the less it looks like cobwebs, the more it looks just like dust bunnies. So what you have to do is really pull it together. But I recommend on your eaves, teasing those out with that. And then if you want to get a little more fun, and you have an outside power source, or even maybe battery powered, get some little purple Christmassy looking lights. They have them for Halloween now. They're purple or they're orange. I think the purple are a little more spooky and fun. And I would frame my doorway with those. And just to be a little scary, because right now we're not talking about being big scares, but two other things I would do for my entryway. You've got your luminaires, you've got your jack-o'-lantern, you've got your cobwebs. I would put under your doormat a pad. You can buy these at Spirit or Target. There's all kinds of offers.com. I'm sure has tons of places where you can find these little pads you walk on, and depending on which one you get, they either sing, there's one, the skeleton singing "I Ain't Got No Body," or "Welcome to My Home," those kinds of fun, goofy things, and you can find those. So whenever a kid walks up, they step on that before they even ring your doorbell, and they get a little bit of a spook, and that's kind of fun too. So those are the things I would do if you're just kind of wanting to not terrify anybody. You just want to create a mood. And then, if I add all that price up, except for maybe the hand-carved or the laser-carved pumpkin from Michael's, you leave that can get up to 30, 40, 50 bucks, depends on what you want to do with it. But the rest of that stuff, we're talking, you could do all the rest of that stuff for less than $20.
Very cool. I have to share a couple of things, because since we started talking about doing this, I started looking at all of the stuff that could be found on Pinterest. And I had to share some of these because this is just way too cute. And this is, obviously, this one was for a classroom door. You could do this for your front door as well. Tons of great ideas available on Pinterest for all kinds of front door ideas. This was
my word.
Check that out.
Wow. See, that makes my stuff seem so tame. And look at that door you're looking at right now, Michelle. That looks to me like it was just some butcher paper. Mm-hmm. And maybe the eyeballs you picked up at a party store or something.
Actually, those are, if you look real close, those are paper plates.
Are those paper plates? Oh my gosh, they are. That's fantastic.
Those are paper plates that obviously they used some paint, some construction paper to create the irises on the eyeballs, but this is all stuff that you can craft and create. It's like, just take a look at your door from a different point of view, but this one's way cute.
We have a red door. We ought to try that here at home. At Ghoulwood Manor, we should do that.
Yeah, there you go. So this one's Frankenstein. So Pinterest, by far, if you're looking for inspiration, ways to save some money and do some things yourself, that, for me, Pinterest is the way to go. And I have been curating at offers on our offers.com account a Halloween board. I have a link to it in the Showcase app as well, so go peruse, please repin and share. We love that.
Oh, those are such great ideas, and I think that's where Pinterest is such a boon these days, because I think most people are visual anyway, and excuse me, I think most people are visual anyway, and to actually see it like I just did there, and I was like, it's one thing to say, go, cut out these papers and make a face, but to see the picture and see how effective it is, that's just brilliant. I love that board. I'm following that board now.
Yay! I got to follow. Let's move on to the second question. So we've got the entryway handled now.
Right.
For the rest of the gang that really wants to go big out in the whole yard, what do you recommend for transforming that homestead into a haunted mansion?
For Greenwood Manor, we have done a variety of things. I have some pictures out there available. I don't know if we can look at any of those, but just to describe it.
Yeah, I can pull those up while you're at it.
Go ahead, if you would, and I'll talk. Let's see if we can pull those up. And these are just a selection over the years of pictures. But what we do, Manor, we're that house on the corner. We're that spooky house. We may not be the spookiest, but we sure as heck try. And I work closely with my next door neighbor Tony, because his son is about 6 months older than my daughter. Yeah, and if you look here, this is from my my book's Facebook page, and if you're looking here just for the outside in broad daylight, this looks like an old junkyard, right? It's not scary, but it's good to see during the day what goes into this. So on the left you see Greenwood Manor, that's my house, and on the right you see my neighbor Tony's house, and then all around it you see these different objects that, when the lighting is right, when the sun goes down, they start to look pretty scary. Right now it's kind of, well, that looks like a yard sale for an old discount store. But we like to use, if you see there, Michelle, that like for example, we love to create little dolls, stuffed animal or stuffed creature dolls like that. And if you see beyond this little red cover there, there's a seat back there. Well, one of the things my neighbor Tony and I like to do is we'll have these stuffed things, and it lures these kids, the older kids. We don't scare the really young kids, but we lure the older kids, and we hear them all the time. They're like, oh, that's just another, oh, look at that, somebody stuffed a shirt and some pants, big deal, because the kids all want to act like they're not scared, right? The teenagers and stuff. And then they get back there, and we're sitting motionless, and they get all the way back, and they're reaching to this cauldron that's full of candy to get their candy, and then we just move like a half inch, and they lose their mind. But what you're seeing here are a little bit of the purple lights, the orange lights. We used a flash here, but this is after dark. But you're seeing the styrofoam and wooden tombstones. We make those. We have candles, as long as they're safe. Oh, there you go. There I am back there, kind of on a break. I'm just waiting for the next victim. The skeleton on the right, he's sound and motion activated, so he'll talk to people when they walk up. The cauldron there, there's usually some dry ice nearby, and we have fog machines that go off. So what we're really talking about here is we created Greenwood Manor, and there's a graveyard in the front yard. And one of the things we like to do, we go crazy. We hang all kinds of stuff, and to us, visual overload is really good for these kids to see all these different things, because it's a lot like magic. Magic's about misdirection. So if they're busy looking to the left at the stuffed guy, they're not looking at the right, getting ready to come out and say boo, dressed up in a mask or whatever. So the ingredients that make up Greenwood Manor's yard include a couple of good fog machines, which go off on a timer. Oh, sorry, that's a bad picture. Oh, yeah. There's some fog machines. There are strategically placed lights. There's some sound and motion activated pop-up ghouls. There's some creatures that talk. We kind of bypass the whole front door and just send the kids to the alley between our two homes. And we always put a little lean-to over it, because in Kansas City, at least, more often than not, we're going to get a little precip. It can be, I think out of the past 8 years or so that I've done this, we've had maybe 2 Halloweens where the weather was perfect, and the rest of the time it's kind of cold or damp or whatever. So I guess what I'm saying is, for a small investment in some of these things, and you could go minimalist and just have a few things and have one little feature in your front yard and just scare the kids maybe on their way up to the porch, or you could do it where you scare the kids on their way out. It's up to you, but the real trick is just lighting things well, adding a mood, and remembering that the head-on scare is usually not going to get them. It's going to be the thing where they're not expecting it. It's got to be like magic. It's got to be like misdirection.
Excellent. I will say we're already starting to get ready for office parties and that kind of stuff. And we can even, if you want, because I know you have an office and a crew that I'm sure you're going to creep out as well.
Yes.
We can talk about that a little bit. But we've already been out shopping, and I know that all the party stores, as well as your standard big box stores like Walmart, Target, all that kind of stuff, they've already got Halloween things out. I mean, even my grocery store, H-E-B down here in Austin, has a huge section of Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
And even the stuff that, a few years ago would have been kind of a trick to get, like the fog machines, everybody has fog machines this year. It's crazy.
It is, and those fog machines, I'll tell you, even if you take very good care of them and pack them away, it's been my experience that the lower cost fog machines, they last a good 2 seasons, maybe 3 if you're really careful with them. But if you're not a serious home hunter, why invest too much more than that? They last a couple of good years. There's little cheap strobe lights you can get too that look really good with the fog. But you're right. There's more and more stuff. Spirit and some of these other Halloween stores that pop up and for the season, and I'll say it. Most of the stuff is pretty good. Some of it's kind of on the low end. A lot of it's made in China and all that kind of stuff. But it's still stuff that if you take care of it, like as soon as Halloween's over the next day, we don't leave things out. I get very depressed the day after Halloween. Some people are after Christmas. So I'm out there that next morning, and I've got all these plastic tubs that are marked Halloween, and everything is going in the tubs. Everything's going away. And the other reason I do that is because the longer it sits out, the more exposure to the elements and the more money it'll cost you next year.
Right.
But I've got a quick tip on that since you mentioned stores. By the way, my mother-in-law, shout out to Barbara, because this is what my Christmas presents from her almost always consist of Halloween stuff, Christmas presents. Because what she does is she hits the stores, after Halloween, and everything's marked down 80%. And I mean, for Christmas, I get plastic garbage bags full of tombstones and grave poppers. And hang on a second, I've got one right here. She got me this last year. This little guy. Now this little guy, Ghostface here, he was probably a pretty penny before Halloween, but hey, sorry about that, buddy. But she got him for a very good price. So I would recommend that too. If you're going to start slow, make sure you hit all the after Halloween sales. You'll clean up, and they'll be happy for you to buy it because they don't want to have to restock it and get rid of it. So.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all about saving money here, and that is one of the big things. If you can hold off and wait until the end of a holiday, you can snag such a huge bargain.
Oh, yeah.
And a very good point. If this is the first Halloween that you're doing this, and you especially done the trick-or-treat thing and you see, this is something I really want to get into, hey, just do your door this year and be ready to hit those sales the day after Halloween, and you will clean up and not empty your wallet all that much.
That's such a great idea. And what you'll also do, if you're really into it, is when you're trick-or-treating with your kid, assuming you trick-or-treat with your kid, or just go by yourself, whatever you want to do. But you can see what your neighbors are doing and get some ideas, It's funny because there's a certain age where people Halloween kind of works like this. You're a kid, Halloween's magical and a good time. You get to be a teenager, trick-or-treating is less, your thing because, it's not cool and you'd rather go to a party, and that's fine too. Then you get a little older, and then you start, and you're a young adult, and you're probably going to parties or whatever, watching movies and whatever, and then you have children, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like I said earlier, you're starting over as a kid at Halloween, but presumably you're an adult who has a little bit of money set aside to spend on Halloween, and you can, you can blow it up the way you want to do it, and that's what I do.
Excellent. Matter of fact, my next question, you just led into it. Since your daughter is now old enough for trick-or-treat.
Yes.
What are some of the best variation on trick-or-treat that you've seen? And mostly I want to talk about, like, presentation of the treats, the walk up to what kind of treats people are handing out, that kind of, what, say last year when you took your sweetie out for trick or treat, did you see that it was just like, oh, I got to do that next year?
The one area, and I had to ask my wife about this, because the one area that I don't get to do because I'm so busy hanging with my neighbor getting the scare ready is our wives take the kids out trick-or-treating. We do a multi-generational thing, if I could just mention. It's like my neighbor and I, we're the dads, so we're setting up the scare. So that's what we're doing. Our wives are taking the kids around the neighborhood to trick-or-treat, and my wife's folks and my neighbor's wife's folks, they're older retired folks. They make chili and make some food, and we all have like a family Halloween kind of chili feast that night. And we've done it for years. It's a great thing. So it's a generational thing, and we all have roles to play. But back to your question, we like it that, you know, my kid's 6 years old now, as of a couple of days ago, and you know, she likes to have a little spook going on, but she doesn't want to be terrified. So what we really respect are the houses that we talked about earlier that really kind of are very kid friendly, and it's kind of neat. There's a couple of houses in the neighborhood that really do the scare super scary, and they make it pretty clear this is probably not where you want to bring your kid. In fact, there's one house that I'm so jealous of because they do such a good job of scaring people. But what they do though isn't, rather than drag the little kids through that, I believe it's the mother or an older daughter, I'm not sure, she'll stand kind of at the edge of the gate and just say, you know, this is kind of scary, here's some candy if you're, you know, like 6 years old or 5 years old. And I think that's a nice idea, you know, because some parents have said to us, you know, what's wrong with you people? You know, what are you scaring my kid like that? And we try not to scare the real little ones, but that's one thing we observed, that's a great idea we observed there. So if you're going to really be a big scare, kind of stand somebody outside who can kind of ward off the little ones. Parents will appreciate, your neighbors will appreciate you the rest of the year if you do that. Of course, we're always looking for the great white whale of Halloween, which is the actual full-size candy bar house. And I want to tell you, it's like the search for Bigfoot. I still haven't found it. If I find because I always tell my wife, if there's a full-size candy bar house, I want you to tell me, because I'm gonna go there. Haven't found it yet, but you know, we're all trying to save money. It's kind of tough to put out full-size Snickers and all that kind of thing. The fun sizes are great, but but if we ever find that great white whale, that Bigfoot, we'll certainly actually not tell anybody because we want to keep it all to ourselves. But that's another thing you want to look for there. And I think too, there's even a few houses where they'll offer, if it's a cold night, they'll offer cider, or they'll offer refreshments for the grown-ups too, which is kind of nice too. Especially, it just depends on how close your neighborhood is, I guess.
Right on. I am scrolling through real quick because part of what we had on our board was just all kinds of party and decor stuff that I spotted yesterday, so it should be at the top of my board. I apologize for looking away from the camera because I'm trying to multitask while I talk.
No problem.
Because I wanted to show you guys some really cute ideas to kind of take trick-or-treat up a notch. And I'm just turning it on so everybody can see. This one's more, honestly, for parties. This one would be one that you would serve in-house, but I love it. It's a monster munch. But some of the ones I saw were like prepackaged little goodies for the ghouls. I love this. So they created little, these are trick-or-treat bags that the kids can actually take with them. They turned a potato into a little skull stamp that they then added to either the paper bag or the little canvas goodie bag. I mean, once you've got your stamp, you can put it on anything. But I love how this turned out. This is really cute.
That is cute.
And these are adorable. Package of Rolos with a little owl on top.
Oh man.
Just taking up what you're handing out an extra notch is really cute. Okay, I have to show you this because this is how you take a standard pumpkin and turn him into Mike Wazowski.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So great stuff for carrying goodies around too. I was spotting little buckets that people have personalized.
That is so great.
Let's see. I know there was. Oh yes, there's a couple more goodie bags. I have to show you these. So that's the witch's
Trick or treat, smell my feet. I love it.
right. And then I love these.
Oh yeah, yeah. Little handbags, yeah, very
Right,
nice.
and these latex gloves, huge box of them for pennies if you know where to go find them.
You know, my wife has used latex gloves on a cake. She stuffed it full of marshmallows that made and made a graveyard cake, and the hand was reaching up out of there. I'm sorry, I don't have a
Oh,
picture, but there was another time too. For my punch bowl, we like to have a fun punch. I would fill up the gloves with colored water, and they would of course freeze into an ice shaped like hands, and then of course you take the gloves off of the ice and you drop in the punch bowl, and you've got
oh,
these.
you know what? I think I have a picture of something like that.
I mean, how cheap is it to make ice with a glove that costs a couple of pennies, a piece? I mean, that's so simple to do. A little food coloring, and it's harmless. It's ice basically. It's not going to
Right.
hurt you to mix it in.
I swear I had one. It was red punch with the white hand floating in it.
That's pretty similar to what we did. Yeah. And a little caution too. Sometimes people want to make cauldrons and they use a little dry ice. You got to be careful that the dry ice doesn't make contact with whatever people are going to be eating. If you want to do it as a visual, that's great. But people can get hurt. Kids can get hurt if they get that dry ice in their mouth. It's very,
Right,
very
right,
dangerous.
right.
So be careful with that.
Not finding the punch. I know I've seen it. Again, guys, Pinterest, go look up Halloween party. You'll probably find the red punch with the white hand floating in it. It's awesome.
There you go.
Um, so trick or treats,
Hmm.
we've covered. Let's talk about the indoor haunting a little bit. We've got the outside all covered.
Hmm.
I have teenagers. I've
Yeah.
got 17, 15. My youngest is 13.
Oh
We're
boy.
throwing a party this year.
Yay.
Um, what kind of DIY hacks do you kind of keep in your bag of tricks for the indoor decoration?
Well, one thing I do want to mention too is setting the right mood and have the right music. I mean, no, maybe it's a little obnoxious to play nothing but Halloween themed music all night, but that's kind of what I do. But to me, it's obviously not Halloween if I don't hear "Don't Fear the Reaper" or "Superstition" or "Love Potion #9" or "Witchy Woman" or, of course, which one? What am I missing? Thriller, right? Okay.
Right.
You got, Purple People Eater, the Monster Mash, all these things. Um, the adults at least will enjoy that side of it, but for the kids, of course, yeah, you got to play stuff they enjoy. I think for the kids, one thing I know we've seen and done is there's also lights out story time. Now, of course, with some teenagers, you got to be a little careful with that, but maybe you put the girls on one side and the boys on the other, but you do lights out story time, and it could be, of course, Michelle, I can just see you doing this. Oh my gosh, with like a flashlight and telling a story, and the whole all the folklore stories you hear, but or just reading one, or you can order stories that are on DVD or not DVD or CDs, and you can play those. And I want to give you guys a quick tip. If you really want to get in the mood and you're into podcasting, you've got to listen to the Halloween Haunt podcast. That guy he's been doing it for years. And he not only talks to you about Halloween lore and history and stuff like that, but he also will occasionally read short Halloween stories. So for story time, he'd be a great guy. You could just get his podcast and play it off of your iPhone plugged into a speaker. Lights are out, creepy, ooh, and there's story time. That's fun. Then, of course, when the lights are back on, it's back to party mode and not creepy mode. I still think Bobbing for Apples is a hoot and a half. And, at first I've seen some teenagers go, oh, and they kind of roll their eyes. But once they get going on it and getting into it and trying to do it, they love it. And sometimes, the treat, though, you got to amp up the prize level. It's not just if you bob for apples and get an apple, you get an apple, or you get a candy bar. It's like, make it more fun. You might say, all right, if you bob for apples and you get the apple, like within 30 seconds, you get to put your hand into, the guts or whatever. And what that is you get a box, you cut a hole in it, and inside it you put, like, you can unpeel the skin. You take this, peel the skin off some grapes, and you could say, reach into this box, and it's like the bowl of eyeballs. And but somewhere in the bowl of eyeballs, there's there's a $5 bill, or there's
Mhm.
some kind of nice prize or something for bobbing for apples. But just kind of make it all fun and make it all creepy at the same time. I don't have older kids like you do yet, so I mean, I'm not 100% clear on what it is their idea of a great party is. Maybe you could tell me what you think you're thinking of.
Honestly, my kids, I did a good job. I have nerd kids. And we are totally into all of the pop culture fandom. My kids love anime. They
Sure.
love Doctor Who and Lord of the Rings, and um, even the Hunger Games, all that kind of, all of those, really good books, movies, television series that drive fandom, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, Big Bang Theory, whatever super fandom you're into. We're actually talking about having a mega fan masquerade this year. So everything will be about, what is that thing that you're just a really geek out about.
Oh, yeah.
And Doctor Who's one of my kids' favorites. I actually have a TARDIS standee ready to go.
What you do?
I do. I have a TARDIS. So
That's great.
yeah, I'm a big fat geek too.
I love it.
So that's kind of where we're headed, and if you ever wanted to see a crazy Harry Potter, Doctor Who, Sherlock mashup, the crossover is probably happening at my house this year.
That
So that rather than creepy, we're kind of headed toward something along that line. So you
and
will see all of the cool decor that goes along with that at my place.
and that's the thing too, is, see, to each his own. I pull towards the scary, spooky, creepy, and then there's people who are like more pop culture-y, and like what you're doing there is brilliant. I mean, wow, a TARDIS. If I were invited, I would, of course, I'm showing my age here, I would be dressed as Tom Baker, the Fourth Doctor. That would be me. I get a big wig and a long scarf, and I have some jelly babies, and I would be that guy if I were coming to your party. So I get that. That's so great. We did that one year at Greenwood. We right after my daughter was born, and there's pictures, but I didn't share them. But we did. It was like around 2009, yeah, when the Star Trek reboot came out, and I was Captain Kirk. My wife was like in the red Lieutenant Uhura outfit, and our little baby daughter. We ordered a onesie off the internet that was a little Starfleet onesie, and we kind of made the house into more of a less creepy and more science fiction-y, more Star Trek-y kind of deal. So, and that's true. So I'm guilty of being a little in a box sometimes, but I have broken out of it like that myself.
And
So I
Halloween,
think,
this is one of those times where pick a theme and run with it. Go big on it. And that's really, I was trying to get them to go strictly just Doctor Who because I could have had that would have been awesome. But somebody wanted to be Luna Lovegood this year, so I'm like, okay, we're gonna back off and do all kinds of fandom. So
I
who
like
knows?
that. See, and that's the thing too, and I've learned this too. Kids want, especially younger kids, they want to please their folks. And my kid's always like, oh, Daddy likes scary Halloween. So she's always like, for Halloween, she's always kind of saying, I guess I'll be a witch, or I guess I'll be a this. And I'm like, when she says, I guess I'll be, I'm thinking, no, that's not right. Don't say that. What do you want to be? And then that was the year she said, I want to be a princess. And then there was another year she said, I want to be Batgirl. And, that was great. That was fine. And I think that's the thing as parents that you're doing. You're understanding that this is not about our, as parents, perfect vision of what we want. This is about, as we said earlier, them living their Halloween fun, fantasy, and good time, and we get to live it through their eyes. So I would say that too. That's a great idea. I guess I'm just a little bit old school. That's my problem.
There's no problem at all with that. You know what? Since we're talking parties,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about the food
Oh
because
yeah.
it ain't a party without food.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to know what are some of your favorite creeptacular treats, whether it's for the company Halloween party, or whether it's family, or whether it's all of the spooks and ghouls stopping by for a big bash.
You know,
What are your favorite things?
especially for when you consider the office aspect of it. And this year, I've got an office and I've got a small team, and I'm inviting everybody to dress up and all that and have a good time with it. And we'll take pictures and they'll be on our company page. I'll send them to you, Michelle. But cupcakes are a pretty portable, easy way to do that if you're going to the office. My wife does this great job with these eyeball cupcakes, and she would frost a cupcake, and then I'm going to get this wrong, but she would put something in the center there and make it into an eyeball, and it could be an eyeball treat, chocolate candy or whatever, and they're like bloodshot eyeballs, and they look great. There's that. There's a great layer dip, and my wife is really good about making a spider web on top of the layered dip, and then putting although I got to tell you, I don't like spiders, so it kind of creeped me out, but it was just beautiful. It was delicious, but I had to remind myself, this is not a real spider web, just eat it, but anyway, but she put a bigger plastic spider in the center of it. It's like a spider web, and it's on this multi-layered dip. That's easy and fun to do. I mentioned the hand in the punch bowl. I do a couple of different drink variations, non-alcoholic variations. One would be like hot cider, especially if it's you're in Austin. I know it's not going to be particularly cool probably by Halloween. I don't know what your temp.
We're finally starting to cool off, but I don't expect it to be chilly on Halloween.
Yeah, so a hot cider probably won't go over as well. But here it's going to be 60s probably, and if it's a little damp, so we have a hot cider, kind of a slightly more Halloween version of a wassail that you might have at Christmas time. But we also have just a punch bowl, like I said earlier, and it's usually a fruit punch. And we'll go with variations. Is it going to be red this year? Is it going to be orange? Just depends on the different flavors we use in it. And what's great about that is you've got the punch is really, it's a sweet punch, and it's nice, and there's a floating hand in it and that kind of thing. That if adults want to add something to that for their drink, that's great. But there's plenty for the kids, and everybody gets to share, and that's a great thing. So I'm a big fan of finger sandwiches, which is actually making sandwiches and shaping them in a way where they really look like fingers, which is kind of fun. And even though I don't eat them with ketchup, I always make sure there's ketchup on the plate that serves them. The finger sandwiches with ketchup. There's a point for some people, they get a little queasy. They're like, I know what you're going for here, but that's not very appetizing. So I have to be kind of careful sometimes. I get a little carried away and here I am, a wimp about spiders, but I don't have any problem putting like ketchup as if it's an artery bursting or something all over people's food. So I have to be careful. So that's a couple of things.
That's a couple of things. I spotted a few things that I think I'd like to share as well.
Please, yes. Let's see what you got.
I'm turning it on for you. This one is all about Halloween brownies.
Ooh.
I love the little spiders.
Are those pretzel sticks or something? Or?
Yeah, I see a lot of use of pretzel sticks. The little ghost peeps that come out this time of year.
Yep.
Used to top this one in the corner. Give me just a second. Oh, I love this one. Frankenstein Twinkie Pops.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I love it. And that could also almost be a minion if you just change it a little bit.
Right. That could totally be a minion, either purple or yellow.
Yep.
If you need to be a little healthier, some fun stuff here.
Oh, really? I mean, if you have to be.
Well, I live in Austin. We have totally vegan communities. What am I supposed to do?
That's a good point. There's one I like too. Take Nutter Butters. Do you like Nutter Butters?
Mm-hmm.
Dip those in white chocolate, and then put little chocolate eyes on them. Then they become little ghosts, little Nutter Butter ghosts. Those are great. You can also dip strawberries in white chocolate, and then you can make little ghost faces on them. That's something that we tried too. But Halloween drink and punch recipes, there's so many out there, but like there's one with candy corn that I should have I've been trying to find. I finally found it just this morning, so I didn't get a chance to get it to you. But I'll tell you, there are so many ingenuitive ways where you can, in different cake molds and different, different drinks you can do. It's just, you just let
Right.
your imagination run wild,
All right.
And here's
So,
the
I
thing.
mean, how simple is this? I
Oh
mean,
my gosh, there,
guacamole.
I love that. And you know what? See, I would eat that with no problem whatsoever. It would not gross me out at all. I would just dig into that sucker.
And of course, the blue corn chips keep us in the right color scheme.
They look like little bats in a way. But yeah, that's so
Hmm.
true. And the thing is, if you make something and it doesn't quite turn out, here's the thing: you can eat all the evidence.
This is true.
You
This
know?
is very true.
Oh, look at these donuts. Oh, wow.
I mean, simple
Those,
but highly effective.
I mean, those will bite back. Those are great.
Well, and they have the monster teeth. Once they're done with the donut, they have a prize.
Yeah, yeah. It's like thanks for playing. Here's your bite.
Oh, this one's awesome. So check out the fruit with the teeth and stuff here at the bottom, and these aren't fingers, but they're mummies.
Oh, I love
The
that.
the pigs in a blanket that look like mummies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so many things. I see up there. There's like some dog bones,
Right?
or not dog bones, but they're bones. That you would dip. Those look great. And oh, hey Michelle, upper
Yeah.
upper right. Look, that looks like the dip I was talking about on
Oh,
the
the
upper right
spider
hand.
dip?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
spider dip. That's pretty close to what my wife makes, and it's just delicious if you can just forget it. And then there's the finger sandwiches. Yeah, so it's all there. The only thing that restricts you is your imagination and your budget, and that's the
And
thing
well,
too.
and to be honest with you,
Hmm.
imagination trumps budget. If you can find a way to really get creative, you can wind up turning something very inexpensive, very simple into something really, really cool
Hmm.
without any extra expense. Really, this is one holiday to let your imagination run wild. It will save you tons of money.
Speaking of saving money, there's a lot of great artists on Etsy who do. I mean, just plug in Halloween on Etsy, and you can find some. Now, some of it's, and rightfully so, very pricey, but you can find some other stuff that's so affordable. Um, and I don't, and I know offers.com is the place to go, and they can tell you where, and Michelle can tell you all the great places to really go look at. But I search, I look, and I guess this is just how I am. I'm a money saving person, and I always feel defeated if I pay full price on anything. So, I mean, if I don't have a coupon or I'm not getting a deal, I'm often just not buying it. So I do have to rely on my imagination to make things work. And and some of the best pranks you can play at Halloween. I mean, really, how expensive is it to saran wrap the
The
sorry, that's
toilet seat.
the old saran wrap. I mean, that's not that expensive at all, right? No, I don't do that. I don't do that. I
Oh
really
my
don't.
gosh. No, guys, go to Pinterest and search Halloween toilet seats. You will see all kinds of not just ways to, prank the toilet seat, but actually spookify and decorate the toilet seat that will make people, stand around with their knees scrunched together because they're too scared to go the John.
I tell you, I've done that when we've had parties back before we had kids. We would have all kinds of just stuff I probably shouldn't even go into here, but it was just, yeah, the bathroom was so scary, people just did not want to go in there. And I mean, that's what's part of the fun. And oh, one year, there's always somebody who wants to snoop in the medicine cabinet when they come visit for a party, right? So, what I did, you got all these motion detecting deals. So I had like a witch face one year. It's gone now. It fell and broke actually into the sink. It only worked for a few times because it fell. But I put most of the medicine cabinet stuff away. I put the witch face in there so that when somebody snooped in there, it would just be right in their face, just yell at them in the light and all those things. And I mean, it was hysterical because they come out of the bathroom busted. They're going. Everybody heard it and they're like, "Oh, I needed an aspirin," and of course, they're stupid, and we all busted, and it's a fun way to do it. So anyway,
It makes you want to put a little GoPro in there along with the witch so that you capture their reaction.
that is such a great idea, Michelle. That's a great idea. I should get a GoPro just when I'm haunting this year, scaring the kids. I should be wearing one just so we can capture some of the best moments.
Right. Yeah. See, This is where my marketing side comes out because I'm all about, okay, life is content. We all are doing stuff that is way fun to capture. Just
Right.
think ahead because you know you're going to be creating moments you want to keep.
Oh, yeah.
Capture them and then turn them into something fun at at the end of the season.
Well, what's funny too is a lot of this stuff, you're in marketing. I do some marketing and PR, and a lot of our listeners out there, or viewers, maybe you do too. Maybe you got that old Halloween costume and you bought it, and you could either sell it on eBay or give it away to a thrift shop or pack it away. My company, we do a series of how-to videos on social media. We're kind of ramping up on that right now, and I've got some costumes that I'm just going to wear, and it's going to be like. Social media tips from the Cape Crusader, and, can you just imagine in the full regalia saying, and when you use Twitter, make sure you don't run afoul of Harvey Dent, or something like that. You do these things, but it's a great way to have fun with that stuff. I think the thing that's really people miss, and I do this too throughout the rest of the year, and that's why I love Halloween, because you know how some people say about Christmas, I wish I could carry Christmas with me all year long. I like to carry a little Halloween with me all year long because life's stressful. Work is hard sometimes. Just getting through the day. I mean, we live in a crazy world. It's nice that maybe in February or March or something like that, I can drag that costume out and play a little bit and use it in my business, or use it to brighten up my coworker's day, or my daughter. Surprise her with Spider-Man being in the house for a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who does that. But anyway.
No, but you know what? You lead me to one last question before we wrap this up, and that is, what are your favorite ways? Because we kind of hit on a few things, but seriously, what are your favorite ways to get the biggest bang for your buck? And that's definitely one of them. Find other ways to use this stuff all year long. You'll be glad that you did. And of course, shop after the season. If you can hold off at all and wait until after Halloween to stock up for next year, by all means do it. What are some other tips, some of your favorite? And then I have a surprise for you because I've kind of been holding out on you.
Oh.
Share a few tips, and then I want to give you one.
Oh my! All right, cool. Well, you nailed a couple of things. I mentioned earlier, I go in on things with my neighbor. Especially if you're in a cul-de-sac, we're not, but my neighbor's on the end of the street. I'm on the corner house. He's next door, and we actually have another neighbor who helps out a little bit too. Join forces, pool your money. Like I said, they don't come to our two doors. They come between our houses. So we share the candy, we share the decorations, all that. So you're saving money right there. There's strength in numbers, right? You got that. The second thing is, if you do have a costume or costumes, find ways to use them throughout the year. There's another thing that I've threatened to do in a funny way is like rent myself out for kids' birthdays to be certain characters. I'm not bad at it. I haven't done it yet, but I could, and you could too. I mean, if you can dress up like Batman or the Flash or whatever, and you can do a few tricks to hold little kids' attention for 20 minutes, you could rent yourself out for $50 or something like that for a little extra cash. Same with women. Wonder Woman, go do it. Katniss, whatever it is you want to do, use those ideas. So there's that. And then, like you said, the mother-in-law rule. My mother-in-law, Barb, she's so great about this. She hits up all the sales. I mean, like the whole week after Halloween, and not just Spirit or Target. Go to the drugstores, CVS, Walgreens. They're dying to get that stuff off the shelves and out the door, and because the markdowns are incredible. And you know what you do? You may have noticed when I pulled this up earlier, it's still in the box because I got this for Christmas last year, right? I haven't used it yet. I'm going to use it this Halloween. It's been in a plastic tub in my basement, just waiting. And so I pulled it out today. I was so excited that we were doing this. So those are some tips right there. The other thing I said I want you to remember too, you can get inspiration and you can get in the mood. If you're a podcast listener, Halloween Haunt, he is so great. Just Google Halloween Haunt podcast and you'll find him. He's been doing it for years. It's family friendly. It's not gonna freak anybody out. It'll keep people in the mood. There's just so many ideas. And I guess the last tip I would give you, if you're really looking for ways to get your house to be the scariest one on the block, is try it sometime during the Halloween season and go to a local haunted attraction. They're not always cheap. Sometimes the lines are long, and yeah, they can be pretty darn scary, but you might see some big-scale ideas at these haunted attractions that you can pare down and use on a local, on your own home haunt level. And by the way, I just really believe that we should do what we can to support the home haunting industry. I just have one quick factoid about that. Michelle, this is the true story. I looked this up. According to America Haunts, there are at least 1,200 haunted attractions charging admission nationwide every year, with 300 amusement parks dressing up for Halloween and more than 3,000 charity attractions that open for one day on Halloween or 1 or 2 weekends in October. The haunted attraction industry generates between $300 and $500 million in ticket sales per year. So Halloween is big business. You can learn a lot from those folks.
Excellent. Well, like I said, I have one last tip for you, because you are one of my money-saving friends. You love a good deal, and you won't shop without a coupon.
This is very true.
Offers.com now has a Chrome extension plugin. Once you download it, no matter where you're shopping online, whether it's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target.com even, any place that you like to shop online, if you're shopping from your Chrome browser, you will get an alert from us. Hey, we have coupons for this store.
Get out of here.
Check out our deal. I'm not kidding.
How do I get this? I'm serious. I want this.
It is offers.com/about/Chrome plugin, and don't worry about trying to write all that down, because the URL is a little long. As soon as this video goes to YouTube, I will add an annotation that will take you straight to the page that you can download your Chrome extension and shop online all year long for Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's, birthday, anniversary, oh my lord, everything else, and get a deal every time you go online.
Now is it just because these are like Amazon is protecting to be out there?
Say again, because your feed broke up right there.
Oh, we did freeze up a little bit, didn't we? Is it that Offers just sniffs out every potential deal that's out there from each of these retailers, and then it says to you, okay, if you're, oh, by the way, Alex, you're on Amazon. Guess what? You can get 20% off of X, Y, or Z. Is that how it works?
Exactly. What the extension is doing is pulling all of our deals feed that you would find on our website. It's pulling all of that data into that little Chrome extension, and it's putting 2 and 2 together. If you're on Amazon, we're going to drop down and show you all of the Amazon deals that we have. If you're on, say, Ticketmaster, we're going to show you what deals we have on concert tickets.
Man.
Just everywhere you go, Offers.com has over 6,000 merchants that we represent, and most of them, we can show you what deals we have when you're on their website.
Michelle, and honestly, you really didn't tell me about this, and I'm so excited, because I can't believe I actually said to you, because I don't buy unless I have a deal. So, and you just totally.
I just gave you a deal, no matter where.
I think it's just you know me so well. You know that I'm just kind of I'm not gonna say a cheapskate, because I'm not cheap. I know the value of $1, and I want to get a deal. So, thank you, Offers.com. Thanks, Michelle. That's so great. I'll sign right up for that.
You're more than welcome, and I know that that's certainly kind of the modus operandi of most of our Offers.com audience, that it's not that we want to be cheapskates, it's that we want to get the most out of the money that we have to spend. This is about lifestyle. This is about living our best life without going into debt, without going overboard, and yet, yeah, there's ways to live better on less money, and we want to make sure that you guys are able to do that.
Well, that's a great deal. I'll do that, and once this hangout's over and it's posted to YouTube, we'll share that. I'll share that from all my various websites, and maybe there'll be a deal on Amazon when my new book comes out on October 30th, Pilate's Blood. Oh, look at that, me sticking that little plug in there. Isn't that terrible? Oh my gosh. You had to know I was going to do that, Michelle. You had to know.
Absolutely. Hey, whatever opportunity I can provide, you just provided a lot of great ideas, inspiration, information for all of those people that are getting ready to gear up for Halloween. Why wouldn't we want to tell them about the fact that, hey, there's a new book coming out?
Well, thank you. And by the way, again, I'm an amateur at it, but I hope if nothing else, I infused in you all that's been watching just the joy of Halloween, and have a good time with it.
Excellent. On that note, I bid you all adieu. Thank you for joining us for Save Time, Save Money Chat.
Yeah.